Here we go, here we go, here we go.
We're live.
We're live, day 3. Here we go. Oh my goodness, this has been such a fun series, our six-figure VA series. I hope that you guys have been enjoying it as much as we have. This is the real deal stuff right here. We are not talking beginner info. We have been diving into some CEO level teaching over these last few days. And man, it has been such a blast to hang out with you guys. I'm very excited for today's training. I know Rachel is as well. Although I do kind of wish that we were back in sunny Florida right now. And it's like rainy here today.
Same
I
here.
want to be back in that picture right now and just snuggle up next to you. So we're going to jump right in. I'm really excited for today's training. We're going to be talking effortless operations. And I have found that there are usually two kind of groups of people. The people who are, man, I am definitely more, marketing focused, maybe bigger vision, idea focused, or I am a little bit more methodical operations. Some of you guys have that magicness that can cross over to both. I'd love to know if you're kind of one way or the other, a magic of both. That's great. You do you. I definitely lean toward the kind of marketing ideation side. I'm not as good necessarily at the effortless ops, but I'm excited to talk about this because literally metrics operations was the game changer for my business personally. This is what skyrocketed my business personally to doing 2x, 3x, 4x, year over year, was really, I can pinpoint, and it was metrics and operations, which you wouldn't necessarily think that. Sometimes you think it's going to be more marketing, but normally it's more systems is what you need actually to grow. So very excited to dive into today's training. Rachel, you have a question for everybody.
Yes, before I ask this question, I have another question. How many of you, I see Tracy, I see Erica, hey, super excited that you're here. How many of you have been with us all 3 days? I would love to know in the comments, just give me a 3 or a 2 or a 1. How many days you have attended all 3 trainings? I would love to know in the comments. But yesterday specifically, we talked about viral visibility, focusing on our marketing, right? And then also we talked about cultivating team growth. What was one CEO level action that you took away from yesterday? Abby, you see all the comments, 3s and 2s?
No, look at all you committed people. It's amazing.
So good. What was one thing that you took away from yesterday? Our reflection time, we asked you the question of, do you have a referral program? Some of you said yes, some of you said no. And then we also asked, what is one thing that you would hire out quickly? What was the first thing that you would consider outsourcing? And did you take any action? Let us know in the comments. I was actually just having a conversation with a potential client today, and she asked if I had a referral program. I said, absolutely, and got to share about that. So that was super fun for myself on my end of things. But y'all let us know in the comments what you took away from yesterday's training.
I love it. So here's what we're going to do today. We are diving right in and we are going to be going like a little bit fire hose today, but that's okay. There's always a replay if we go a little too fast, because I want to make sure that we dive really deep into this teaching, but that we also have a good amount of time at the end for Q&A, because we want to be able to answer the questions that you guys have lingering from these past 3 days from today's teaching. We're going to really be talking about systems today, how to systemize your business in order to scale. But first, let's do a quick recap, right? If you've only made it to maybe one day, you have not seen this model yet. This is what we call our savvy circle model. And essentially it is the rotating model that doesn't stop, that your business will go through so many iterations, right? When you first started your business, you had an offer, you told people about it, you had to quickly figure out how to do an onboarding call once you signed that first client. And then you probably you probably kept track of some sort of metrics, even if it was just the income you were making, right? Like, how much money did I make? How much did I do in expenses? Hopefully you were at least keeping track of that part, right? And then you maybe came back to your offer and said, ooh, a couple clients, it's time to raise my rate, right? Or, ooh, I don't want to offer these services anymore. And so you will likely go through multiple iterations of your business. And what I love about this model is that, and this is the difference of what I've seen with entrepreneurs who really find success and those who don't, who get themselves kind of stuck on a hamster wheel, is that rather than doing this method and refining and refining and refining and getting better each time you go through the system, people will say, you know what, I tried virtual assistants for a while, but I didn't really like this, or I didn't like this. So I stopped it and I started an Etsy shop. And then I did an Etsy shop for a while and it didn't really take off. So I stopped it and I started a blog. And then and it's like, rather than just sticking to something and doing these small pivots and going through the system and refining and becoming better and better and better, the people who do this are the ones who find success. I'm telling you guys, I've been in business for, since 2015 now, grown to 6 figures, 7 figures. And I have been able to see the people who are just doing this same thing and pivot are the ones who find success. So this model truly does work, as well as our Savvy Circle framework. So how we move people through the model, this is our proprietary information and our system for how we can move people through this iteration of the model successfully. So we talked about having an irresistible offer, right? We talked about having an offer that makes people say, oh my goodness, you've solved a pain point. You're so worth this high value, this high dollar amount, right? Seamless internal systems. And that is that, hey, if we gave you 10 more clients today, could you actually say yes to them? What do your internal systems look like? Viral visibility, and that is a higher level marketing. So we talked about referrals, we talked about that personal touch, but how do you create a system that creates evergreen or ongoing leads for you? That's the viral visibility section. We talked about cultivated team growth, how important it is to open yourself up to the idea of having a team, even if it's just one VA to help you with the back end of your own business, and how much that can free you up to do the things that you are truly great at, how you can live in your top strengths and outsource the things that are not your strengths to someone who it is their strengths, right? So today we're going to talk about efficient internal operations and predictive forecasting. Now, internal operations is a little bit different than our internal systems. Our internal systems are like the tools that you're using, how you do an onboarding process, etc. Your efficient internal operations comes after you have a team, right? How does the business run day to day? How do you do project management with a team? And then predictive forecasting, we're going to be talking about some metrics. Okay, so we are diving right in with step number 5, which again is those efficient internal operations. You guys ready? Let's say ready in the comments, because I'm going rapid fire here. And I'd love to say, if there's one that really stood out to you, let me know that in the comments too. Like, which one has been your biggest aha moment if you have been here all 3 days? Which do you think is like, oh man, that is my bottleneck right now? Like, that is where I think I'm getting stuck potentially in my business. I need a new offer. I need to really seam down my internal operations. I need higher level marketing. I'd love to see I'm ready to hire, or I need to be ready to hire, right? Efficient internal operations. So what does that actually mean? Well, I can tell you from having a team myself, and I am one of those people, we had the question asked yesterday, when is too soon to start a team? As soon as I signed my first client, I got a subcontractor. Like, there's not necessarily a too soon. And I don't think there's necessarily a too late either. It really depends on your goals, right? I knew from day one that I wanted to have a team because I like managing. I like having other people doing work and me getting paid for it, if I'm being totally honest. Like, that's just a fun thing to happen. I love providing a great job for people. I love multiplying. Like, that is what is fun to me, is creating something out of nothing. And so to create a bigger and bigger business has always just been fun. And so that to me has always been really important. And so for me, having a team is so not only rewarding, but really, really effective. And you guys see everything that happens here. And just quick shout out to the TVS team, because literally nothing would happen here. Trust me, they all know me. Nothing would happen here. Abby's just big idea, big idea, big idea. I'm a visionary, right?
Mhm.
Without the actual boots on the ground, people to make it happen, things would not happen. Like you
Mhm.
guys would not have the incredible support that you have without the TBS team. So huge shout out to them. But the thing is that with having a team, it's not something that one many of us haven't managed before, and that idea can be really scary, right? I had not necessarily been a manager, not by title at least. I had managed in my roles, but not necessarily had the title of manager ever before starting a business. And so I had to learn how to manage project, how to communicate effectively. And one of the things that has really helped was something that I learned very early on in the business is by having a flow of meetings. So I'm going to share with you, I'm going to kind of like open up the door to what we do here at the Virtual Savvy and what we've been able to replicate in our Savvy Circle students. And what's so cool about this system is that you can literally start doing it now, even if you don't have a team. Okay. So essentially, what we do is a daily, weekly, quarterly, and annual rhythm, right? So it starts with, well, actually, I'll go at the end because it really starts with that annual planning. So at the end of the year, um, and if you didn't do this last year, it's okay. You can do your annual meeting now and just do it for the rest of the year. So you plan kind of what are your big goals. Some people call them like the big rocks, like if you've ever seen that example of where you have a big vase and you put the big rocks in first and then the smaller rocks and the pebbles and then the water, like you got to establish what are the big things, what are two, three, four huge things that I want to happen. It could be an income level. It could be a number of email subscribers. It could be a number of clients. It could be that you want to hire your first subcontractor, right? Like, what are some of the big goals that you want to happen this year? And you go ahead and you establish those at that annual meeting and you get a rough draft of kind of how you think that will play out on a quarterly basis. Again, when we're diving into metrics, you can put some numbers behind it too. Okay. I know that if I want to have this many clients, it would break up to this many per month, which means this many discovery calls, et cetera, right? And so that's kind of where you just take a moment to step back and do annual planning. Again, you can do this in your business if it's just you, and I highly encourage it.
Mhm.
I highly encourage you to actually get away once a year, even if it's just you. I've been doing this since day one of my business. I would get myself a little Airbnb, right? Write that off as a business expense. I would just get away for the night and just allow myself just have those big sticky notes that you put on the wall, that you get a big whiteboard, whatever it may be, and just say, man, I'm going to allow myself to dream for the year. What could happen, right? Because a lot can happen in a 12-month time span. Then we go down to quarterly. So if you have your big rocks, then every quarter we actually look back at those and say, hey, are we on track? And what are the projects that we need to do this quarter in order to stay on track with those annual goals, right? Do we need to pivot? Sometimes you came up with an annual goal and by quarter two, you're like, that's not really my goal anymore. We need to shift that big goal to this instead. And that's fine, right? Of course, all of these things are flexible, but having those quarterly kind of check-in points are really, really important as well. And I also think that that's when you can kind of plan out the projects. Like at our quarterly planning, we even get as specific to say, hey, this is when it's going to happen, like what point of the month. Maybe you're planning out a content calendar, maybe you're working like this is how many clients I need to sign per month, and you're breaking it apart even smaller. Then we have a weekly meeting. So once a week, and this is a really great thing, especially if you have a team, is to have some kind of weekly touch point, even if it's with subcontractors, right? And say, hey, I would love for my subcontractors to be able to meet at this time at this day. Again, because they're not employees, you can't necessarily tell them you have to be here this time at this day. That's kind of like a part of being an independent contractor. But you can say, hey, would you be able to? And obviously that's something that they could agree to. So if they're available for a weekly meeting, I think that is a great time to really just check in and say, hey, are we on track with these goals? We like to go over our core values. That's something that we do really consistently here at the Virtual Savvy. We take a look at like our big rocks for the year and we just run through. It takes about 30 minutes, even with our huge team, a quick just boom, 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 boom. We do shout outs, we do celebrations. It's really a time to get the team to come together and get excited together. Now, you don't have to do this in person. I love it. I think it's a really great idea to do this, and not in person. I mean, over Zoom, obviously. You don't have to do this over video. You can do this just in like a Slack or something like that, or some other format. But I mean, there's something I think really special about getting your team all together in one video Zoom call, even if it's just 30 minutes once a week. And then lastly, daily huddle. Again, some people do this in person. They will literally meet 10 or 15 minutes every single morning. We don't do that. Our daily huddle is literally just a Slack channel where everyone just posts, hey, here's what I'm working on today. I don't love to be a micromanager, right? Like that is not my vibe at all. But it is really nice to know what people are working on, and especially to have people have a place where they can say, ooh, here's what I'm working on, and here's where I'm stuck, or here's where I'm maybe needing some thoughts or suggestion. It's just kind of that daily checkpoint, right? Of here's what I'm working on. So that is our flow of meetings, and something that we do really, really consistently here at the Virtual Savvy. I will say, again, it's never too early to start a flow of meetings for your own business, even if it's just you, right? So do that annual planning, do those quarterly check-ins, do a weekly check-in with yourself where you're actually looking back at your quarterly goals. If you're not checking in with your goals, it's as if they never happened, right? Like how many of you have been there where you like set some sort of New Year's resolution for yourself? If you're not actually visiting it, if you're not keeping track of it, it's
Mhm.
as if it didn't happen. I have a sticky note that's on my mirror, like right next to my mirror in my bathroom, that says plan to win, because I genuinely don't believe that you can win at anything that you're trying to accomplish in life without a plan. Like you have to have a plan, and you have to attend to that plan, and you have to keep up with that plan, or because like magic doesn't just happen like by doing nothing. Like big dreams don't get accomplished by just like sitting around. Like you actually have to make conscious decisions to work toward that goal, right? Again, it doesn't have to be hustle, it doesn't have to be 24/7 exhausted, it doesn't have to be 60 hours a week, but it does have to be consciousness. I'm making small conscious decisions to work toward my goal. And again, the daily check-in, even if it's just you, can be kind of just that, what am I working on today? What are my, something I'll do with my husband sometimes is we'll sit down at night. We have like a nightly meeting where we go over the schedule for the next day and just check in with each other. Hey, what are we cooking for dinner? Let's make sure we get meat out of the freezer. Like we have this little nightly check-in that we do. And a lot of times we'll ask each other, like, what are your big three for tomorrow? Like if I were just to accomplish 3 things tomorrow, because most of us think we have way more time than we do. Most of us can't actually accomplish more than like 3 pretty big tasks in a day. So it's like, what are my big 3 for tomorrow? And let me just go ahead and pinpoint that, so I get to the end of the day and I'm not beating myself up for you didn't get 100 things done. No, of course you didn't. Why did you expect yourself to get 100 things done, right? Like I feel really good because I said I was going to get these 3 things done, and I focused and I got those 3 things done, right? So that's like the own daily check-in that you can do with yourself. I just talked a lot. Rachel, any thoughts?
You did, but so much good information. What I love about our flow of meetings at TVS is it just completes the line of communication, all the way from the annual planning, all the way down to the daily huddle. And just like Abby said, it's not a form of micromanaging, it's a form of communication. And it's also a form of like self-reflection and goal setting. So what am I going to do today? Here's where I am. And me, who manages our product team, I just go in there and they know I will just go and look at them and check mark them, say, hey, I saw them. Great job. If I have any questions or you need any support, let me know. But it just completes that line of communication and keeps everybody on the same page. And that's something, just like Abby outlined, something that you can do right away, whether it's before you leave your desk that day, or when you first sit down at your desk that morning, or even a combination of both. What do I need to get done today so that when I leave, I feel good and confident with what I've accomplished?
Yeah.
Establishing that flow of meetings, even now when you may not have anybody on your team, is absolutely a great thing to do.
I agree. And I like what you said about like that it's a communication tool. I think
Mhm.
that, like, if you think about it this way, things that are established ahead of time are so much easier to like
Mm.
consume and to wrap your brain around than if it just happens um like kind of ad hoc. So let me explain. If you were to hire a subcontractor and every day email them and say, "What you working on today? What you
Ugh.
working on today? What you working on today?" Like annoying, micromanaging, like
Sounds horrible.
nobody wants that.
No.
However, if it's like as you have a subcontractor and you let them know, hey, one of the things that I would really like is for you just, you know, just we have this daily huddle, just, pop in there. It'll take 10 seconds, just every day, boom, here's what I'm working on today. It just keeps us all in the loop and you'll even know what I'm working on today. Like that's it's just a communication tool. And it's so much easier to just establish those things as rhythms
Mhm.
rather than it being this like, oh, by the way, we're gonna have a 3-hour meeting this week, and you're like, well, it's quarterly planning. Like we knew this. We had these dates in the calendar at the beginning of the year. Like it's way easier to have it as just an established thing. People like rhythms, people like flows, and so it like actually brings ease into that communication.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, step 6, you guys ready? Because we are still going. There's a lot more to internal operations, I will say too. Like this is one touch point. We have
Mhm.
a lot, obviously, that we teach inside of Savvy Circle that is talking about actually project management and how do you, check the work and how does that whole flow work. Obviously, we can't go over all of that right now today, but we're trying to give you a sneak peek. And Jennifer said, can you do that in Asana too if you don't have Slack? Yes, for
Mhm.
sure you can. I know that people will use Slack or Asana or ClickUp as their main communication tool, and that's fine too. We just really like Slack. All right, so let's go on to the final step, which is predictive forecasting. Now, this to me was probably one of the hardest out of all of the steps because, again, my brain doesn't necessarily work this way. And forecasting is one of those things that um, I feel like it must take a very special person to do forecasting because forecasting is kind of looking ahead like a visionary would do, but having numbers
Mm.
like a admin person would do of being like metrics, here's what we're going to hit, but also knowing that those numbers aren't really black and white, like they're not concrete, like it's very like spaghetti against the wall, and I don't know if it's comfortable for anyone.
Yeah.
Like if forecasting is like exciting and comfortable for you, let me know because I think that's super cool. It's fun. I love to dream about it, but in reality, I'm like, I don't know if any of this is good. But that's where it starts, right? And one of the things that I've really embraced, especially as I've started to dive into the power of metrics, is that every number tells a story,
Mm.
right? And so for those of us who get like nervous about numbers, or maybe you get excited about numbers, um, knowing that the numbers in your business tell a story will help you to be a business that makes data driven decisions,
Mhm.
right? Oh, we have some people who love forecasting and analytics. I love that. That's exciting. I have learned to love it. It is a grown appreciation because it really can, again, to me, I don't necessarily love numbers, but I love the story that they've been able to tell. So for instance, like we were saying, the idea of I'm going to keep track of, I know that my main source of leads comes from when I attend these networking events, right? So I'm going to attend 4 networking events a month. I know at every networking event, I can get 10 business cards. Out of those 10 business cards, if I follow up with them, I know that I can get 3 discovery calls and I close about a third of all my discovery calls so I can close about one of those clients with every meeting that I go to, right? So then you can begin to play with that,
Mm.
right? Like if you have that information and you actually have it recorded, then you can look at it and almost play a game where you're like, what could I tweak in the system, right? If I were to double the amount of networking events. So if I were to do, rather than one networking event, what if I did 2 networking events? a week, right? Like, and again, if you have a team that's helping you and you like networking events, that's something that you enjoy. Maybe that's something you would want to do. Or maybe you say, I think that if I tweaked the way I do discovery calls, instead of closing a third of my discovery calls, I could close two-thirds of my discovery calls, right? I mean, that's literally going to double your clients just by improving that one area. So you can look at your metrics and let them tell a story. Your profit tells a story, right? Your profit likely tells me if you're paying yourself or not. Which I'm going to step on some toes with that because some of you guys aren't paying yourself, and I'm a really big fan of paying yourself. And we got this question from Heather. What is your favorite way to record and track the metrics for your business? As I'm answering this question, Heather, I want you guys to answer a question for me, okay? Which is, do you know how much you'll make this month, next month? What about in 1 year? Because again, one of the first places that you can start tracking your metrics is just your finances. Like, are you actually tracking how much is coming in every month and what is going out? So, Heather, my first answer to your question is to have a P&L. So that's a profit and loss statement. So again, in Savvy Circle, we give you all the templates for all of this, but a P&L is essentially just a way that you're tracking what money's coming in, was coming out, my OPEX, my operating expenses, right? And then at whatever's left over is your profit. Out of your profit, you need to be saving back. Unfortunately, I tell people to save back 30%. That's normally more than you need, but I just like to be safe, rather safe than sorry. And I like to have like, oh, look, I have more saved than I need to for taxes, right? And so I like to save back 30% of my profit for taxes personally. Some people go closer to 20 or 25. It all depends on tax bracket and a bunch of other things. I'm not a tax professional, so I can't tell you exactly what your tax percentage is, but you save back a percentage, right? And then the rest of that is money that should be going into either an emergency fund, which I recommend everybody have in their business, 3 to 4 months, all the way up to 6 months. 4 is my like sweet spot. Everyone has their own sweet spot of how much you like to have in savings. At the Virtual Savvy, we keep 4 months of expenses in the bank. And so not just expenses actually of like total revenue in the bank. So that is and then you pay yourself out of that too. Okay. So again, this is like one of the first ways that you can start tracking metrics. And it would be the first one I would track if you're not already doing this. How many of you do this? I would love to know. Like, do you have a P&L or something like this? Even if you didn't call it a profit and loss statement, are you keeping track of this? Again, this helps you know how much you're gonna have to pay in taxes. So I hope that you are in some regards, but hey, some of us aren't. And it's like, ooh, yep, I need to get on that, and that's okay. So that would be the first place that I would start. Next, so we call them KPIs, key performance indicators. And so this is where that whole spaghetti against the wall concept really comes into play. And so you decide, what are some things that I'm going to start tracking? I wouldn't get super overwhelmed with it, but it's like, I'm going to have this separate spreadsheet that I'm going to call my KPI spreadsheet, and I'm going to make goals. Again, networking meetings attended this week, discovery calls this week, how many posts I did on Instagram. There's a whole, and I'm going to get really nerdy over this, but there are two different kinds of metrics that you can keep track of: lead metrics and lag metrics. Okay. So a lag metric is like a result, like this happened as a result. So clients signed per month, 3. I signed 3 clients per metric this month. That's a lag metric. That just happened as a result of something, right? Like that can't happen unless something else happens. So what's the something else that happened in order to get to this lag metric is a lead metric. So if I know that by attending 10 networking meetings per month that I get 3 clients, then the networking meetings per month would be the lead metric. It's the one that like I can amp up in order to make this one raise. Does that make sense? So it's a difference between lead and lag. So I always recommend having both lead metrics and lag metrics inside of your KPIs because both tell a story, right? Your lead metrics, the ones like how many networking events, or if you get your clients largely from Facebook groups, then it's like number of high value posts made in Facebook this week, right? And you can keep track of that. And then what's so cool is that what should happen is that if you have the correct lead metrics, if you increase that, then your lag should increase too. And you can see those increase together, right? That's where, again, your numbers tell a story and some magic can happen. So, I brought Rachel down. Rachel, hi. I didn't know if you wanted to stay down below. I think you had to cough. If I missed anything, let me know. And you're on mute too.
There we go. I had a hacking attack, so I just figured I'll gracefully exit. And
You can continue to do so if you need to.
all is well. Keep going. I'm here.
Okay. Okay, good. Yes, Erica said lead is process, lag is outcome. Exactly. And I think it's really important to have both in your tracking when you start doing metrics. And so again, there's no right or wrong answer. I usually think that keeping track of your metrics is like the best ones to start. Again, start with your finances. I think that that's the very best place because you're going to need them for taxes. And then also, so that'd be the best place to start. And then next, starting to just spaghetti against the wall, come up with some KPIs. Again, usually you come up with goals and you're just like, well, I'm gonna try to get this many clients, like if you haven't been keeping track of it, then it's a guess. And so you track it for a couple weeks and you're like, oh, okay, no, this is actually what I'm doing, right? And then let me make a goal to increase. So that's why the forecasting and analytics is a little bit of this game that you can play, but man, can it have the power. Do you guys see why it's so powerful too? Do you see why when each of these systems flow together, why it makes sense that the outcome is six-figure success? I think that for some of us, we're like, well, what needs to happen for me to get to six figures is I just need to work harder, or I just need to have like a bigger package, or I just need to charge more. I just need to have better marketing. But really, if you were to have just one of those things and not the other factors, there would be a snag in your system, right? Like you could have better marketing, but if you don't have the team to support it or you don't have the systems to support it, you're not going to serve your clients well, which is going to mean worse referrals, which is going to create a snag in your system, right? And so it really is so important that these steps actually flow together, which is exactly what our girl Erica did. Why don't we talk about Erica a little bit? And she's showing up here a little later, by the way. She's going to come on with us and answer questions.
Absolutely. So what I love about Erica's story, again, with each of our spotlights that we've done over the past 3 days, you can see a quick snapshot of before and after with scaling right there in the middle. You can read all of the things here on the screen. I just want to highlight a few things. So before, Erica was doing great. She was making $2,000 to $3,000 a month, which felt really good, but she knew that there was so much more potential there. But because she was working so hard, she kind of hit that point of burnout, right? And not available for her family and being there for her kids the way that she wanted to. So she scaled her business. She hired her team. She raised her prices. That was the best decision for her to make inside of her business. She now has a team of 15 amazing subcontractors, and she's one of our Savvy Circle coaches. She's actually also a team member here at TVS. And now, because of that, she's not at 16K months anymore, y'all. She's at 25K months inside of her business because she dove in deep, looked at where she had that snag inside of her system, and was able to scale to those larger K months. Now she enjoys her life, and she's able to say yes to her kids and be there for field trips. She was taking a field trip next week. I don't remember which kid it is, but she's there for her kids and her family because she made these choices inside of her business. And many of you are at that pivotal point between growing and scaling where you feel stuck, you feel burnt out, you feel overwhelmed at that 2 to 3K, but you know there's so much potential ahead for you. So you have to dive in deep to your business and analyze, where's that snag? Where am I missing something? Identify what's missing in your business and make an action plan to move forward. And that's why we developed Savvy Circle, to help you do just that from the very first day that you jump in.
100%. I think what's really cool about Erica's story, other than she's just a really cool person, is that, like, I think that every person, like, if you look at the framework, every person, even each one of you guys watching this live stream, you all each kind of have this like internal power flex. Like it's like you're like with like one of these is actually your superpower. I forget who mentioned it earlier, but they're like analytics, like metrics, forecasting. This is my zone, right? And so like that's your power flex. You need all of them. Please dive into which one is the weakness. Please, maybe put a team member in the place that is your weakness. But each one of you guys is going to have this like, oh, this is my zone and I'm going to really shine in this. And I think that Erica has done that a lot with cultivated team growth. Like she has grown a business that basically hurt. I mean, because she works full time here at the Virtual Savvy and runs this 20K per month agency, which is like crazy pants. So, and we are like so lucky to have her. So it is like, it's just really cool because that's like her power flex. And each one of you guys have your own like power flex, right? Like this is the one where I would really shine because it just tends to my natural abilities. And so while you need all of them, again, you can't run a business without each one of these. One of them is where you're really gonna shine, which I just think is really cool. Each part of the framework on its own is powerful. When combined, they are absolutely unstoppable.
So good. So let us know. This is helpful for us to hear from you. What have you learned about scaling your business just today? Yes, we could ask you about the whole series, but we want to hear just today. What was most helpful for you? What are you taking away from today? What did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about your business? Let us know what your insight was from today's training specifically and drop it in the comments. I think for me, I can remember back, Abby, at TVS when we did have metrics because we have Melissa and she's amazing, right? And we had great numbers, but we didn't necessarily dive in as deep as we do now and look at the story behind the numbers. Yes, there are people attached. It's not just numbers. Y'all, if you know me, I fight hard to hear y'all's story, okay? But there's so much valuable data in looking at what's happening. Why is this number going up? Why is this number going down? And looking at all of the avenues around and behind and before and in between, they really do tell a story. And once we started doing that here at TVS, the doors opened for conversation and pivoting and changing and improving and stopping things that weren't working that we thought was working, but obviously by the numbers we see that it's not. So that's one of my biggest takeaways, even rehearing this after we've taught it how many times. I think that was, I just remember going back to that day and making that decision of we're going to intentionally do this and what it's done for the business.
Yeah. And we're still learning. I mean, there's never, let's see, we had one comment saying like planning and goals are important, even if you're doing good. And it's like, it's so true, is that we've been doing this since 2015, 2016, started my VA business in 2015, December 2016 is when we started, the training program and every day learning, growing new, trying new things, telling a new story, diving into the numbers deeper, coming up with better systems. Like, again, that circle model, like we just keep doing it over and over and over and over. And that's what creates a growing business. The reality is that you can understand every part of this framework, which I feel like that's what we've covered in this training. If you don't have the tools and support to get through it, you will get stuck at one point, working harder, getting distracted, stuck in your business. Anybody feel that way, right? So that's why you need the tools, mindset, and support to take you through the framework. If you miss any one of these steps, like we mentioned, you might have a power flex where you're like, I'm just going to spend all my time right here. But if you miss one of the other steps, you'll find yourself maybe growing, but completely overwhelmed. I'm so great at marketing, so I'm going to throw everything into marketing. Oh, crud. Now I'm like working 80 hours a week. Nobody wants that. You need to build a team, right? Or you need better systems to manage that. Or you need a higher price offer so you don't need that many clients, right? I mean, there's so many other things to flex inside of here. So having people who have been there, done that, people like Erica, people like Narissa, Vanessa, like Nicole, people who have been there, done that, who have been through this Savvy Circle model over and over and over is so vital to help you actually get to the next phase in your business, because this is what we want for you guys. And feel free to take a snapshot of this if you want. Is that and you probably can see where you're at even in your own business. You're like, oh yeah, I'm kind of like right there, and maybe the income is different depending on what type of package you have. But if you were to start out at a $25 an hour rate and you signed a 10-hour a week or a 10-hour a month client, boom, $250 reoccurring revenue. Wow, that's really cool. I have monthly reoccurring revenue as a VA. Hey, I did that again. I signed a little bit of a higher package, right, with my second client. Usually, most general VAs doing hourly work are completely booked with 4 to 7 clients, right? So that's why, Savvy System, I don't know how many Savvy System people we have on here today, but we tell you, like, you can replace your income generally fairly quickly because you don't need 100 people to say yes. You usually need like 4 people to say yes, 5 people to say yes to get to that booked mark. But then so many of you guys are like, oh man, like I'm there, but now what? Right? Like maybe I don't want to stay here. Maybe I don't just want to do hourly client work. Maybe you do. Maybe you're like, I'm cool. Like I'm happy. I'm loving this. I don't really want to go on to the next phase. But if you're like, man, I want I want the Erica story. I want to do 20K months while I'm working 5 hours a week. I think is what she mentioned in the comments. Like that sounds cool. I love the idea of building a team, or I love the idea of helping people on a higher level, being positioned as an expert. That's what we teach you over the Savvy Circle process, right? It's what we did with Anna. She said, when I started Savvy Circle, I had 5 clients, averaged 4,000 monthly. I offered a wide range of services from websites to executive assistants. Within 8 months of Savvy Circle, I created a scalable signature offer to focus on a niche, repeatable process. This is exactly what we teach. I now average 8,000 a month with only 2 clients. 11 months into the program, I hit my biggest month yet at 13,000. And with only 2 clients at that point, she has so much room to grow still, which is super, super cool. Our goal is to scale your business through simplicity and systems. And we all go, because it doesn't mean new hustle. So if you guys are ready to scale, that is why we created Savvy Circle. Again, we've been talking about it. So many of you guys have already applied. I think we're opening up 30 applications. I think we already had like 28 applications potentially come in. So thesavvycircle.com is where you want to go if you're interested. It's a 12-month step-by-step group coaching program to help you scale, simplify your business. We are doing this cohort and opening it up until Thursday, May 11th. So that's how long you have to apply for this particular cohort that we are leading you through. Obviously, the goal is less hustle and more money. And I want to break apart the program because we've been talking about it all week. Those of you guys who are still here are like, okay, we knew you were going to tell about it at some point. So let us dive a little bit more into it. That way, if you do have questions, they're completely answered for you. And then we'll do a Q&A time with you guys as well. Okay. So essentially what happens if you go to thesavvycircle.com, you'll apply. We take about 24 to 48 hours to approve your application. Again, we're coming in, we're really looking through your application and saying, yes, this is a good fit, or no, it's not. And that's okay. If it's no, it's not, we'll give you some feedback of what you can do in order to get ready to join Savvy Circle. Once you join, you will be assigned a coach and a cohort. So again, this is not just a course. This is so much more than a course. This is the most high touch way to work with our team. So you are actually put into a small group, a cohort of individuals assigned to a coach, right? So that you guys are working together. So the relationships that are formed inside of this program are unlike anything else. We have you attend a niche workshop. This is one of the biggest hurdles that we solve because we've been running this program, what is it, Rachel, over a year now, right?
Oh,
We're coming up on, did we hit the
year.
2-year mark?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because it would have been around this time. So we've hit the 2-year mark. And so what we found is that people were getting kind of stuck on like, oh, I don't know how to niche down. And so we created this entire niche workshop experience that you get. We're actually sneak peek. We're going to sell it later this summer for like $500 all on its own just to do the niche workshop, but you just get it included inside of Savvy Circle. So this one, it's about I think a 90-minute workshop where we are actually helping you. Like you will leave that workshop knowing what you're are you going to niche down by service, by industry, by both. You're going to know that so you can boom come up with your higher ticket offer or your high ticket business plan, even if it's a lower ticket offer, you're going to see the bigger vision of how you can build an agency or do a high ticket offer. And then of course we support you not only through the coursework, because there is a course that goes through it, but man, actually attending the cohort calls, going through, getting the accountability. You get a Slack channel where we're actually working with you to evaluate and critique everything that you're doing. The system, it's its own system, right? If any of you guys are Savvy System, you know we like systems over here, and we like that step-by-step methodology, and we lead you through it hand by hand in a really personal way inside a Savvy Circle. Let's look at some big wins that we've had, because we love celebrating our big wins. David says we signed our first client on one of our new packages. We signed them on our 3-month mid-range social media contract, signed today. It's also officially the most expensive package we've sold to any client ever. There was like a huge number. How much did he sign a client for?
Yeah, they sent a proposal for a $50,000 package.
It's insane.
Unreal. Him and his wife work together, and they are just a powerhouse team. And it was so amazing to have them inside of Savvy Circle, one of our very first OG members inside.
Yes. Yes. Suzanne said, such an amazing program. I've tripled my yearly income since June. Anna said, I did it. Discovery call out on Tuesday said, yes, contract signed, invoice paid. I can't believe it. I just booked my first $4,000 client. I just hit 10K for this month, and it's January. So this is obviously in January. One of our current members. I have a call scheduled with my next client tomorrow. He starts in March. It's working. It's really working. And then Betsy says the coaches inside of Savvy Circle are different than regular business coaches. The VA experience makes their advice worthwhile. That's the thing too, I will say. Our coaches, guys, like our coaches are doing this themselves. I have found that sometimes inside of other programs, you'll have coaches that haven't done this. Literally, we have coaches that have built a bigger VA agency than I have. Like that's that, and like I'm happy to say that. Like that to me is exciting, because it's like, yes, like that's we want like the most qualified people leading you guys, and that's what's happening. If you were to be honest with yourself, where are you now? Are you stuck? You're making a few thousand a month, but your plate's full. You can't take on any more clients. Maybe you're stagnant. You have a vision of how you can scale, but you're not sure really on the next steps on how to raise your prices, how to systematize your offerings, or maybe you're just stressed. You're like, I've tried subcontracting. It just seems like way more work than it's worth. It's really difficult to find reliable people. Let me know in the comments, because likely you are in one of those places, and we all want like the more freedom, less hustle. And we have what we've taught you today, but there's so much more, guys. I mean, obviously what we put inside of this massive course, a year-long coaching program, we can't completely spell out just in a 3-day training. So we want to work with you alongside you to get you to your goals. You're obviously getting the kickoff niche workshop, the weekly coaching calls with your cohort, regular coach access via Slack, via email, your accountability check-ins. We actually send you a monthly revenue report. So you have to report your income to us. So you're not just reporting it to yourself. You're telling us how much money you're making, because we're going to keep you accountable to the goals that you set for yourself. The 18 video modules, obviously workbooks, spreadsheets, drag and drop templates that we have created for you. Our Slack channel is the bomb. It is on fire. Like you've never seen a community that is so supportive, that is helping one another in this way. So if you're interested, thesavvycircle.com. We would love to have you inside of this cohort. We've got a ton going on right now. If you're joining by Thursday, you are getting not only that cohort support, but live calls with me and the team. So I'm joining you guys on a regular basis to, pick my brain about your business. Again, there's no other program that you can do that with that we offer, that you're getting just one-on-one access with me in that group capacity. Sales page templates, financial dashboards, the P&L dashboards we were talking about, org charts, how to actually systematize your team in an org chart fashion, automated client funnels, brand your website masterclass. So we give you a complete revamp of your website through this masterclass. Mindset library. We do a lot of mindset work. In fact, Nicole on our coaching team is a mindset coach herself and is amazing. We celebrate your milestones, of course. Let's talk a little bit about Jessie and her story, Rachel.
Yeah, so Jessie was one of our students as well, and she joined starting at a thousand and a half, right, monthly income. But she was able to reach those 8K months by April. You can see here her timeline looks a little bit different than our coaches, so we broke it apart by month. She started in June. She joined Savvy Circle and submitted her resignation letter for work and worked really, really hard in the program. Those that show up inside of Savvy Circle are those that actually make the changes inside of their business to scale their businesses. And she did. She was one of our most active students when she was inside. And one of the things that you get access to, you can see there in April, the feedback from critique calls this month was a major win. You submit anything that you're working on in your business, whether it be sales page copy, whether it be your website, whether it be a recorded discovery call. We will dive into that, and we as coaches will give you specific feedback on how you can improve, make things better, to refine your processes and your assets so that you can get to those 8K months, just like Jessie did.
100%. If you join for May 11th, we are also doing a little special bonus for all of you, a 30-minute call with our TVS team member or a Savvy Circle coach. This is a one-on-one call. Most of our coaching happens in a group capacity, but sometimes you just want that extra one-on-one hash it out session. So if you've been impressed with our coaches, which you should be, and just want to pick their brain one-on-one, if you join by May 11th, we are throwing in that bonus call for you as well. And I do want to mention, if you're already a Savvy System member, you will get a discount on the course. So make sure you let us know that. But if you're not a Savvy System member and you are ready for Savvy Circle, you actually get Savvy System just as a part of being in Savvy Circle as well. So all of the course and the bonuses and all of the things that come with regular access to Savvy System, you're going to get as a part of Savvy Circle. Again, if you are a Savvy System member, just reach out to us at hello@thevirtualsavvy.com, and we'll make sure that we get you your discounted link, because you're going to get $1,000 off the cost of Savvy Circle just by being a Savvy System member. We want to recognize all the hard work that you've already done. So thesavvycircle.com, if that's for you. Obviously, we have our clients who are, 4, 5, 10xing their investment in the program. So this is worth much more than $20,000 or $10,000. This is the amount that our clients are making per month, many of them, by working with us. But the cost of the program is just $49.97 for the year, or about $500 a month at $497 per month for 12 months. So if you're interested, make sure you go to thesavvycircle.com. And if you join by May 11th, you'll get that 30-minute one-on-one call as well. Anything else? Oh, well, how long will it take? Again, it's a 12-month program. You can choose to re-up after the 12 months. You'll get lifetime access to the actual course content. But again, all the accountability calls, the cohorts, the coaching, all that really support happens in a 12-month time frame. And we usually say the first couple of months you're really kind of getting your traction, you're refining your offer. That first sprint is really digging into your business. So usually around the 3-month mark, 4-month mark is where you can start seeing that accelerated growth and results from your business. So we just want to set those expectations ahead of time, that it usually does take 2 to 3 months, and it depends really on how fast you go through the program, because again, it is self-paced, so you can go through it quicker. But just to set those expectations, it's usually around the 3 or 4 month mark that we get into the visibility that we start marketing your new ticket offer. So the goal is to give you a return that far outweighs your investment. For instance, if you have a $2,500 high-end service and you were able to access just the marketing and visibility section of the course, you could make back your investment with just 2 clients. Your clients are hiring other people when they need and want you. So it's time to get past our fears and mental blocks and start showing up in the way we know we were meant to. That's it, I think, for Savvy Circle. Here's everything you get. I feel like we talked about this. There we go. Why group coaching? Let's talk about that for a second, Rachel.
Yeah. So what I love about Savvy Circle is that it not only do we teach you the Savvy Circle method, right, that we talked about the last 3 days, but it's a circle of absolutely brilliant, amazing, fabulous people. There's something to be said about jumping on a one-on-one call and getting some individualized support, but there's something so much more powerful when you're in a room of people that are like-minded, that are walking the same path as you, as well as a coach who's there to guide you, support you, and ask you the right questions to help you make the best decisions for your business. So not only are you getting to interact with 4 amazing and brilliant coaches. If you want to stick myself in there, there's 5. Okay. But you also get to interact with an amazing group of people that are walking along the same path as you. And group coaching is absolutely a powerful tool to be able to help you do that. So we do a meet on Zoom. Right now, our coaching calls happen weekly on Tuesdays at 1:30 p.m. Central for 90 minutes. We meet real quick all together as a group, get any questions out of the way for everyone. And then we split up into our smaller group cohorts where you get individualized support. So it kind of feels like one-on-one support, but in a group setting.
Yeah, I will say, like, I've done individual coaching and group coaching, and as I prefer group coaching if group coaching is done well.
Yeah.
There's like I feel like it's a really like important distinction because individual coaching is great, but there's something about group coaching that you're literally learning and getting aha moments just by hearing other people's stories and answers to their questions, right?
Mhm.
And just the camaraderie of like, oh, we're in this together. What I don't like about group coaching is when people say group coaching and then you jump on a Zoom call and there's like 200 people on the call and you're like, I'm not getting any attention. Like that to me is not group coaching and that's not what you're getting here. So you jump on the call and then you get into your individual cohorts, which are fairly small groups of people. And so that's where you're getting that really individualized attention. So again, this isn't that you're jumping on with like 200 other people. That's not what this is at all. Again, this cohort, we're looking for 30 people and even that like gets broken apart. So like just know that's what we're looking at here. Okay. Yeah, Nicole says I've never seen a group coaching as in-depth as Savvy Circle. 100%. So let's answer some of these questions. And then if you guys have questions, go ahead and put them in the comments as well, because we want to make sure to take the time to answer any remaining questions that you guys have for sure.
Also, before we do that, Erica, I'm bringing you up. So ready or not?
Oh yeah, let's bring up Erica for sure.
Hi.
Erica actually has a call with a potential Savvy Circle student that starts in just 5 minutes. So
Actually, it's going to be pushed back just a little. So we have a couple more minutes.
Okay, good.
Fabulous. Okay, so stay on. Erica, how much time is it going to be required of a student when they join? What does that look like as far as their week goes?
So the only call that we have that you're going to want to try to be able to attend as often as possible is the Tuesday calls at 1:30 Central. Those are 90 minutes. And aside from that, we just recommend that you have about 5 hours a week that you're able to spend. That looks different for everybody. Some people have more, some people might have a little bit less, but that seems to be kind of the sweet spot where you're really going to see progress.
Yeah, and what I love about how we built the program, we know that y'all are busy. Erica, I hear you in the comments. Like, you already have a packed schedule. You're busy working with clients. We don't want to pile more work or assignments or homework onto you. We've built it out very spaciously so that, yes, we have that one call that we really want you to attend, but there's so much flexibility on when you show up, how you show up. When you submit your critiques, you know where to go to see them when our coaches have posted their critique for you. So we really built the program knowing that y'all are busy CEOs and we want you to have that flexibility to get done what you need to.
Oh my gosh, I just saw Natalie in the comments. Like you are speaking
Yes.
exactly what every single one of our Savvy Circle people sound like when they join the program. They're like, I'm already burned out. Like, I don't need another program that's going to be more work for me. Can we just speak to that really quickly?
Yeah, and I think it kind of goes just to that, is that that's why we built this program. We built Savvy Circle because there were so many people inside of Savvy Systems saying, what's next? I'm stuck. I don't know where to go. I'm burnt out. I don't have any time. I don't know how to hire a team. And that's why we built Savvy Circle, but we built it in a way that can support you exactly where you are. Yes, there are a few things that we really encourage you to be at set times, but there's so much flexibility that you can work on your business when you can. Erica, any additional thoughts?
Yeah, I think the only thing I would add to that too is it's really nice that it is based in Slack because you have 24/7 access to Slack. So maybe you don't have time during the day to send a question that you're thinking about to your coach, But when you're sitting down in the evening and you're like, okay, I have a minute to think through this, I need to ask this question, you can send that in Slack, and then your coach will be able to answer you when they're available. So it's really nice because you're not having to like save your thoughts for one weekly call that maybe you're not able to attend this week because you have something else going on. You've got that access all the time, which is really nice.
Yeah. One of the first things we do inside a Savvy Circle is that we really get you to paint a picture of the type of business you want. Because right now, like burnt out is obviously not the goal. Like that's not where you want to be. But it's the reality of where most of us get. I mean, you start a business, you get clients, and you're like, boom, I replaced my income. I'm doing this, I'm working the thing, and then you're like, man, I'm tired. Like that's very normal, actually. Which is why now the next level is getting yourself out of some of the business so it can sustain and grow bigger, because any business that can sustain itself, right, without you being in every single part of it, is a true like freedom business. So that's the goal. And so we actually have you paint a picture of what your freedom business is, so you know the end goal. And then that's what we're doing throughout the 12 months is we actually get you to that point.
Yeah, so good. Next question here on the screen. What will happen to my current clients? We are not going to suggest or recommend for you to go and fire all of your current clients, because as we kind of discover right away, you're probably already working inside of your niche in some form or fashion. So we're going to work with you and help you and support you make a plan if you need to transition any of those clients out in time, right? Maybe they are the right clients. We just have to maybe refine some things, create some boundaries, whatever that looks like for you. We're not going to tell you to fire any of your clients from the get-go. We're going to work with you on what that looks like and how that applies to your scalable business, your dream business that you want to create. Erica, what would you say to the next question? What if I don't want to build a team?
I think that's okay. I think that it's important to keep in mind that you can only scale to a certain point, and building a team looks different for everybody. I think Abby mentioned this yesterday, but maybe building a team isn't having subcontractors that you're managing and are doing work for your clients. Maybe it's hiring someone to handle your social media or hiring somebody to help you on the financial side of your business. And those can still be your team without being somebody that you're necessarily responsible for. So there are other ways that you can pull people in to help you to alleviate some of the work you're doing. That way you can scale your business and still do more. And maybe they're better in areas that you kind of struggle at. So it's beneficial to you. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're like me and managing 15 people that you don't want to be managing. I think scaling can look really different for everybody.
Yeah, so good. Susie, I see your question too. I'm going to get to that. That's a great question. Are results guaranteed? We can't absolutely guarantee all results, but I will guarantee this. If you show up and if you make the time and the effort, you will see results inside of your business. Those that we showed you on the screen today, they're the ones that show up to the weekly calls. They're the ones that show up to the Ask Abby calls or the special guest calls. If you show up and really dedicate that time and energy and effort, you will absolutely see results from inside of Savvy Circle. So that's how I would answer that question. Erica, any other thoughts on those questions before we keep moving?
I don't think so.
Awesome. Susie asks, Abby, you see that question right up there. What are some immediate wins from past Savvy Circle students right away after they start the program? Such a really great question, Susie. So we've referenced the niche workshop. This is a win that we want to get for all of our Savvy Circles students right out of the gate. It's a 90-minute call. We do kind of loosely require it, but if you don't show up and don't take advantage of it, you're at a big loss. But inside of that niche workshop, Erica and I spend 90 minutes with a small group, and we dive in deep to your current business. What are you doing? Who are you serving? Where do you want to go? And by the end of that 90 minutes, it's unreal what our students are able to walk away with. They have a clear vision of who they are, what they do, and what their scale path is going to be. So choosing that niche and then choosing the direction that they're going to go. So when they leave that call, making those decisions, then for the very next cohort call that we have, their coaching call, they know what to bring to the table of what to start working through right away. And it's one of the biggest wins and fastest wins that our Savvy Circle students get inside of the program.
Yeah, and what's cool about that is the quicker that we can get you to that point.
Yep.
Because again, the very first step is your offer, right? And so what will often happen is that if we can get you to really understand your niche, right? We know who your target audience is. We know what that core service is or what type of agency you're going to build around a particular industry niche. If we know that, then we know the pain points of that
Mhm.
industry or of that niche, right? Which means we can craft a really incredible offer around that, or a system that's going to paint this, this six-figure agency for you. And so what we do, for a lot of people too, Nicole says raising their rates, right? And that is a huge win that we see happen very quickly.
Mhm.
And a lot of times what we'll do is that you may craft a high ticket offer and put it with your other offer. So we don't necessarily like right away replace everything that you did, unless if you
Yeah.
want to do that. It kind of depends on how many clients you have. And again, it's a very individualized process. But a
Mhm.
lot of times people within, a couple weeks of the program will have instantly like, oh my gosh, like, did I just create like a $4,000 offer? And now if I sell one of these, like I've doubled, tripled my income, like that can happen really, really quickly. And we do have people obviously sell packages very quickly inside of the program as well. But a lot of the stories that you've seen here, like we've said, it's usually around like that 3-month mark that you're getting like the huge leaps and
Mhm.
bounds of like, I sold a $10,000 offer, or I, tripled my income, that kind of thing.
Yeah. That's why we don't recommend or won't push you to fire your clients. We still need income. We're just making some pivots and changes inside of our business. Heather, I see your question down at the bottom. The replays will be up. They aren't going away, so you can catch the replays at any time. But I want to say this really quick. I know that applications are open until May 11th, which is actually next Thursday. If you have any gut feeling, or maybe you're not even sure if it's the right fit, don't wait till May 11th, please, to apply, because we have to go through your application. We want to give you time and space to jump on a call. If you have any additional questions, that would be a one-on-one call with our team members to kind of walk through Savvy Circle and if it's the right fit for you. So don't wait. Go ahead and do it today. It doesn't cost anything. And we'll be in touch on whether or not you're approved or whether we think that there are some things that you need to take care of first. If you're new to starting a virtual assistant business, Abby, can you put that link up?
Yeah, for
Help our-
sure. Because I know we have people here that aren't ready
Yep.
for Savvy Circle. Like if you're like, one of the requirements is that you're making $2,000 a month in your business. I think there's a little leniency with that. So if you're like, I'm at like 1,900, like still apply, it's fine. But like, if you're like, hey, I'm just starting, I don't have a client yet, go to
Mhm.
the virtualsavvy.com/BBO. This is an incredible free training. It's about 60 minutes long, and it will show you how to become a booked out virtual assistant. Like literally, this is the system of how you start your VA business, how you sell out your clients, and once we can get you to that point, then these are the people who are ready for Savvy Circle.
Yeah, thanks for putting that up, Abby.
For
We
sure.
don't have a whole lot of questions, y'all. So if you have some questions that are on the tip of your tongue, make sure to drop them in the comments. The team is gathering a list for me. Here's the next question that we haven't answered. When will Savvy Circle open again? And do you have different enrollment periods? Erica, you want to speak on that and I'll fill in any gaps?
Yes. So Savvy Circle is technically always open. You can get in at any point in time that you want to. The nice part right now is there is the bonus. So if you get in early, you can get that one-on-one call, which is not something you would get if you join at another time. It's also great because you're joining at the same time as other people, which doesn't necessarily matter when you're in a self-paced kind of situation. But it can be really nice to have people that you're working along with and you're not feeling like you're coming in by yourself. So you're going to feel like you're part of a group, and then you guys are finished at the same time too. So it's really nice because they kind of become your people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so good. I don't have any gaps to fill in. You did a fabulous job.
Yeah.
Abby, did you have any other thoughts?
No, I was going to say, so what we've moved to a cohort model. So what you'd be doing by getting in by May 11th is joining the current cohort, which comes with all the extra bonuses. So we're just highlighting that right now. So there's definitely, again, the extra bonuses. That's a part of it, just the momentum you're going to get by getting with all these people. But if you are looking at this and you're like, I want to join, but maybe next month is better, go ahead and apply now and just let us know in the process. That way you have all the information that you need to know which cohort is going to be best for you to join. You would just miss out on some of the bonuses.
Yeah, absolutely. Natalie asked a question there at the very end. What if you want to start in the way that you did, Abby, where you outsourced immediately? Abby, what would you say?
Yeah, 100%. Savvy System is going to be the best route for you because we actually talk about building a team in Savvy System as well. And you can jump right down to that section. But if you have that kind of drive, Natalie, if you're like, boom, I'm ready to go, I want a team, I want to do this thing, then you are going to fly through Savvy System. And we have had it. I mean, we've had people go through Savvy System and literally be at the level where they could join Savvy Circle in like 2 months. Like it can happen really, really quickly. So I would still start there because it's really foundational that you have some of those beginning steps, that you know how to do an onboarding system, that you know how to do a discovery call, that those things are kind of already like you need that foundation before you join Savvy Circle. So I still would start with Savvy System. Again, it's not a wasted investment because all Savvy System students get $1,000 off when you join Savvy Circle. So I would start with Savvy System and then just fly through it as quick as you can because you're going to rock it. And then 2 months, call us up and be like, I'm ready. Let's do this thing.
If you're at that point where you're making that consistent income, Natalie, and you're just ready to start hiring, then Savvy Circle may actually be the right fit.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You just kind of have to figure out where you are. And if you have any hesitations, fill out an application, which Natalie, I think that you did. So just fill it out and we can chat, jump on a call if we need to, or email back and forth and figure out. We will tell you the honest truth. We had an application come in that it just wasn't the right fit, the right time. We gave them some action items and said, come back in 30 days, let us know, and we can revisit. We want the best for you, and we're never going to push you to make an investment that isn't comfortable or is going to put you into a financial hardship. We are never going to push you in that direction, for sure.
For sure. Let's do one more question.
Yeah.
When is the next official cohort?
Great question. Right now it's slotted on the books for October of 2023. But that date's flexible, right? Because we revisit our numbers on a quarterly basis. So that could change, but right now it's slotted for October of 2023.
Yep, for sure. All right, guys, thank you so much. This has been such a joy to hang out with you. Erica, thank you for joining us. Again, we would love to have you come in for this batch. It's going to have so much momentum. We're looking at about 30 people to have come in during this cohort. So again, small enough that you're getting a lot of individualized attention, but a lot of momentum there, and we're really excited about it. So make sure you go to thesavvycircle.com. Guys, again, if you're on the fence, just go ahead and apply because it's free to apply. And then that way we can just take an individualized look. You're literally getting like our coaches. So these like multiple 6-figure VAs to look at your business individually just by applying. So make sure you do that. If you are at that point where you're like, I think I'm ready for this, go ahead and apply thesavvycircle.com. And then you can make the decision if the right time is now or later. Okay. And we're going to help guide you through that decision in a really honest way. We're real people. We're business owners ourselves. Like we get it. Right. And so we are going to take care of you in that decision. So that's all we have for today, guys. Thank you so much. I hope that you have an awesome rest of the day, and we can't wait to see you inside a Savvy Circle.
Bye.